What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
And welcome back to another episode of the FIlmBros podcast. All right, y'all. Kind of like how Jesse Eisenberg said in BVS, the bell has been rung. It's
Okay.
doomsday time. Shit has happened. Shit has hit the fan. And it seems like it's just getting weirder, or not weirder, but worse and worse as time goes on. So now at the time of recording, it is July 15th. But as we all know, the strike happened. The SAG strike. They decided to stand in solidarity and strike alongside the writers because the companies have yet to find any common ground, apparently. Oppenheimer cast were at the UK premiere, did not even make it to the actual movie. They had to leave. They got the calls and they were on a flight back. Christopher Nolan himself had to go on stage and tell them, yes, they were on the red carpet. Literally, that's how quick it was. They were on the red carpet, walking up, probably got the call, hey, we're striking. They all just took off, didn't even watch the movie. Christopher Nolan had to apologize, had his dick in his hand, had to say something. Now, it is affecting a lot of productions, a lot of other productions probably not. I know a lot of people were being like, oh, why is House of the Dragons that is going for HBO Max, why is that one still going to be up and running? Well, that's primarily in the UK, and they have a union over there. So all the casts are UK union members, so they have nothing to do with us over here. So that's the reason why House of the Dragon is still going to be going. But movies like Deadpool 3 has been halted. Amazon's Spider-Man spinoff Silk Society has been frozen. The God of War adaptation frozen. Any movie that's in production right now, Captain America frozen, and they still have like a couple months out. Deadpool still has a couple months out.
Deadpool had like 2 months of shooting left.
Superman Legacy should be frozen, but there'll be a topic of conversation a little bit later on. Just a lot of things are being put on pause now that this strike is going on.
Yeah.
You've heard about this. You've heard of any of the CEO talk, any of the big wigs that said anything so far?
Dude, yes, I've been seeing it. I saw what Bob Iger said, and I think he's a piece of shit for what he said. I know about the quote. I forgot who said it, but they were like, there was a quote going around saying that they're going to wait until these writers and all that go homeless.
Yeah.
Before they even reach a good deal. And that was so fucked up to me. I was like, wow. These fucking people, you know what I mean? These heads that we knew we give them money.
These CEOs that are making multi-million dollars. You know what I mean? And they're...
the kings calling the townspeople greedy. Like, what the fuck, man?
It's a weird spot to be put in. It's tricky. Now, just so we can kick all this off, we did hear about what Iger was saying himself, like you were saying, but let's talk about a couple other things before we get into what the CEOs were saying. Yeah, I have a couple of quotes that I will be reading off. One thing that apparently actors are behind heavily is the scan of background actors, and not only the AI, but not only AI writing, but they want to be able to scan background actors to potentially use them for more than once and only pay them one time. Now, somebody, one of the spokespersons for the SAG community, they said that groundbreaking AI proposal, they proposed that our background performers should be able to be scanned, get paid for 1 day's pay, and their company should own that scan, their image, their likeness, and should be able to use it for the rest of eternity in any project they want with no consent and no compensation. So that's one of the big things. Now, we seen The Flash. And we said how disgusting it was that they remodeled Christopher Reeve. Didn't even have the decency to make him look real. This is the kind of thing that we're going to be getting, but not only at this grand scale where, Christopher Reeves had movies and he was the star of these movies. Now we're going to get down to the very little people who barely probably they use this as a side gig. They do background work or whatever. They just, make a little bit of cash, $300, $400 per shoot. Boom, boom, boom. Now they're going to be reduced to 1 day's pay, and their likeness is going to be used forever without even, even being asked or being told. You're just going to see some dude with a bald head and a ginger beard in this movie, and then he's going to be in that movie because it's just because, hey. And they're going to be like, did you get paid? He's going to be like, no, they just used it.
They only paid me once. This is fucking terrible, dude. I don't know how they think this is a good idea. Which, again, it's all about pay.
It's a good idea in the eyes. Because you could, let's be honest. In the eyes of a business, that would be a dream, right? You know how much money they're going to save on not paying these extras over and over again? Like, on a business standpoint, you could see. But that's them being greedy. You know what I mean? That's like, maybe if there's a middle ground, maybe saying like if those same actors are used 5 times, 10 times, whatever, like they have to be contracted or something, and they have to be paid and compensated or whatever, blah blah blah. Like that'd be, there is probably some middle ground there. Obviously, I'm not a negotiator, so don't put me to negotiate because I'd probably wind up losing this strike. But I think that there's some kind of middle ground that could be used there, not just let's go ahead and not pay them and let's just pay them for 1 day's pay.
Oh man, this is fucked. This is a really fucked idea for AI and everything involved. It doesn't make much sense to do, other than from a greedy standpoint. Why wouldn't you want to pay your people? That's all it comes down to. Why wouldn't you want to pay them? You're just gonna use them for the day and be like, I haven't seen it.
They want to save money.
So what the fuck? Save money by not paying the CEO billions of dollars.
That's true too. That's true. Did you see that Sean Gunn came out and said something?
I did.
Did you see that they had to pull his video?
Did they really?
Yeah. So it was hilarious. It's so fucking funny. It just happened like this morning. Literally, he was talking shit about getting royalties for Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, Netflix.
From Netflix.
Yeah.
Because Netflix has it.
Mm-hmm. Saying
that the CEO doesn't give them any kind of fair residuals. They give them residuals, but not fair residuals.
Oh, okay.
Gilmore Girls is by WB. So he was attacking the CEO of Netflix, but then when he heard that it's WB who's paying him, he tucked his tail between his legs and was like, hey, you got to pull the interview. And then on top of that, I can't even say anything about my brother's CEO boss. You see where I'm mapping this out.
I saw the video, and I seen a couple of these things where like, oh, he doesn't know that WBD did Gilmore Girls, so he was talking out his ass. And then when they called him up, they were probably like, "What the fuck, bro?" And then he was like, "Oh yeah, never mind. I gotta, I'm gonna just stand on strike over here." But yeah, that's a lot of people were saying that he should have been doing it to WBD instead, but he's not gonna go against his current employer.
No, he's not, which is crazy because, and that kind of tells you a little bit for me. Like I said, we're probably going to talk about it a little bit down the road with like Superman Legacy because we did get some casting announcements. But yeah, I'm going to save that. We'll push on with this first, and then I'm going to save that whole Sean Gunn thing. So moving on though, same thing. Now, like how you said that according to Deadline, a source came to Deadline saying that the AMPTP wants to bleed out the WGA. It's a cruel but necessary evil, basically to save money. So this insider basically told Deadline, saying that the end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their homes. 72 days in, obviously. We've been 72 days in the writer's strike, maybe 74 at the time of recording.
Well, like 2 months there or so.
Yeah. Saying that nobody's interested in negotiating anytime soon, and they're in it for the long haul. Saying that they're just willing, that's the only way to break the Writers Guild, is to bleed them out to the point where they have nothing and then replace them with AI. Why find a deal when they can just get lost? And to me, that's the case, that is the dirtiest of the dirty, to the point where you guys are going to allow your writers to just lose everything And maybe not. Maybe this is just company jargon to be like, yeah, keep going until they, they have no choice but to get another job, or, or they lose their house or some shit like that. But at the end of the day, why are you pushing your writers out? You're pushing them off a cliff. Like, you're literally, here's the cliff. They're all right here, and they're just slowly just pushing that fucking thing, and little by little until the last one dwindles off. But now they have a bigger dilemma on their hand. They got the actors involved now too. So will this kind of change, like turn the tide a little bit? Will this kind of help it out? Where will they be like, "Hey, actors, come here. We got a deal for y'all, but y'all need to help us out with these ones."
If they come out with a deal, because that's still the actors want too. They want fair pay and all that.
Yeah.
Also,
which let's be honest. I mean, don't actors make a lot of money too?
Some actors do. Some don't. It really just depends on what you're doing.
What your status is.
Yeah.
If you're A-list, obviously going to be making A-list money. Like, if you're a hot, like, barely up-and-coming actor, you're not going to be making a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. Like you wouldn't start out and then immediately start making, like, RDJ money. But, again, should RDJ be getting billions of dollars for just a cameo?
Let's be honest. Unless you're lucky, like, what's her name? The girl that plays Miss Marvel, and, like, the America Chavez.
Yeah.
They're getting into a big franchise. So they're making decent money right now, them being young, and they could be making RDJ money by like the 8th, 10th movie. They just keep going at the rate that they're going, but still, like, it just depends on where you fall, obviously, but I think there's a tier list to this money making thing when it comes to like actors in Hollywood.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't pay your lead guy the same as an extra, but at the same time, the extra shouldn't go home with almost nothing in his pocket.
See, but that's with actors, at least. I mean, this is kind of like what I know because I kind of knew somebody personally who did this as like side gig work. Like they would go do their shoot, make side money, and then come back to their regular jobs, basically. So there's some background actors that do that as side money, until they eventually get into a role where, they're in a bigger spot and, finally take off. Kind of like, a crutch. Kind of like, how we're doing it. We have this podcast, but we also have a 9 to 5 until, we can probably do a little bit more with our financials here with this one. When that happens, will obviously be in a different place, but you got to start somewhere. You can't just be obviously making RDJ money when you're just an actor, but I mean, just a beginning actor. I mean, should you kind of prepare and expect what you're going to be getting, in my opinion?
Well, yeah, I would imagine so. But again, that's the thing. Like we understand the difference between a leading man and then, their co-stars. Like, what was it they're saying? Like, wanting to be paid more than the lead actor sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
You're not the lead. Sorry, that's just how the dice was rolled. But what's to stop you from bargaining for more for a paycheck? We've seen that happen. I can't give you examples, but we've seen it happen. Terrence Howard, when he demanded more money for RDJ, more than RDJ, and then he was just like, all right, well, I'm out. Because he got too expensive. Or he wanted to be more expensive.
Yeah, well, he wanted that, and he wanted his own spin-off and whatever and all that stuff. He wanted his franchise around Rhodey. And at the time, it wasn't in the card. So what they say, well, you're being difficult. We got to change you out. So I think he was just the person who bit off a little bit more than what he could chew. I think that's a unique case. I would say more because people who are A-list actors who go in a movie that's not their movie, and they get a little chunk of change for a cameo. I mean, and it's only because of their name.
Brad Pitt did his little cameo in Deadpool 2 for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, that's depending. Even what did Ben Affleck say when he was like, "Oh yeah, I came back to do the Snyder Cut, those last scenes." He was just like, yeah, Zach invited me to his backyard. He said, don't we have paperwork for this kind of things? And they were just like, oh, we'll just do it real quick. You know what I mean? So you could do it for a favor, but then sometimes they do it for a check, obviously. And sometimes the cameos are and just because of their name and their buzz on social media and stuff like that, they do pay extra for having certain cameos and actors in there.
I don't know, because again, like a cameos aside, since we're talking about it, let me bring up what I said just not too long ago. Should RDJ be getting $1 billion for a cameo?
If he's vital to
a cameo is never vital, really.
If he's vital to the story, I think he deserved every dollar that he got for what is it, Homecoming? I think he deserved it.
Those count as cameos?
In a way, I mean, he wasn't the main lead, and he only showed up for less than 8 minutes.
A cameo would be like what Captain America was.
I know, but we're talking about RDJ, right?
Well, yeah, but like now we're talking about what a cameo is, because
okay, so define a cameo.
A cameo would be like just a quick glimpse at this character so and so, and then being like, oh yeah, we addressed him, but let's get back to the story. RDJ was pretty vital to Homecoming. That's not really a cameo.
It wasn't vital. You could have written him out, and he would have been. They would have kept the same story regardless.
I don't think so. Because then what happens?
They could have used somebody else to be his mentor.
They could have. They could have Captain America.
They could have had what's his name, Hoagie.
Yeah, but at the same time, then he'd be a side character.
But still,
that's not a cameo. A cameo is what Captain America was.
Okay.
In those videos.
Do you think Quicksilver in Days of Futures Past, do you think he was a quick cameo?
No, he had a role. He was vital to the story to break out Magneto.
Some can argue he could have ended the movie a little bit earlier, and that's why they made him skedaddle from the movie. So he technically was vital for like 2 seconds, which cameos are usually that, right? Where they're just vital for like 2 seconds. And then
a cameo is to just like address something small and then be like, okay, like this person does exist here.
I think if somebody has less than like 10 minutes of screen time,
using Quicksilver as a plot device is completely different than from a cameo. A cameo should take like 10 seconds max. Like they said, the scenes in Homecoming with Captain America.
So Superman at the end of Black Adam, that'd be a cameo?
Yeah.
Okay. If we're going by that definition, then well, Henry Cavill basically got paid what? Didn't they say they paid him like $400,000 just to show up, and then they paid him like another close to $1 billion for the scene that was in the Flash, and the ending scene, and they didn't even use it, so they paid him money to be Superman, and they didn't even use it.
Well, if they didn't use it, I'd argue that's.
But they
still
paid him. That's a known fact.
That's a studio thing though, because if you're like Logan Paul was contracted to be in the movie with The Rock, the lifeguard one.
Yeah.
But they cut him out entirely. But he still got a check from it. That's just how the studio works. If you end up a deleted scene, that's just how the movie shaped out. You're still gonna get paid for your role in acting.
But that's a cameo that was a lot of money. It didn't make it, but it was still a cameo that was worth money. A lot of money. And that's what I'm trying to prove.
Depending on what his scenes would have been.
The capacity?
Yeah.
Well, they said it was just going to be like a scene in the multiverse, and then they said the ending scene.
I don't know. I would have had to see him. I don't.
So it's deleted, so we can't even tell. But they paid him for it. They paid him for it.
Yeah.
It's a known fact that they paid him.
You'd be paid for it. Just if you don't, it's just hard to determine for what, because you didn't see it. We don't know how big of a scene it was.
That's true. But I think we got off track just a little bit. But at the end of the day, I'm hoping that the actors and the writers, they stay in solidarity, because bleeding them dry is just crazy.
Insane.
Ron Perlman had a few choice words. I don't know if you wound up seeing this video,
yeah.
but I'm gonna play it for y'all so you guys can
Ron Perlman,
hear what he had to say.
One thing before I get off this: the motherfucker who said we're gonna keep this thing going until people start losing their houses and their apartments. Listen to me, motherfucker. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. Some of it is financial, some of it is karma, and some of it is just figuring out who the said that. And we know who said that. and where he fucking lives. There's a lot of ways to lose your house. You wish that on people. You wish that families starve while you're making $27 million a year for creating nothing. Be careful, motherfucker. Be really careful. Because that's the kind of shit that stirs shit up. Peace out.
And that's fucking real, bro. That's
Hellboy.
Yeah,
It's from Hellboy.
Mm-hmm. Make him Hellboy 3. I'm still.
That was real. That was actually raw.
Yeah.
Go Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
like I didn't see the whole video, but damn, that was.
He don't give a
that
fuck.
was real raw.
He don't give a fuck.
He's right though. He has a fair point.
He, you know, he said $27 million. We're gonna see another interview with Fran. You know who that is? Franny.
Oh yeah.
She was in The Nanny. She was in that one show. That was a long time ago. You probably don't remember.
No,
You've probably never seen it.
I know of the show. It used to come on after like George Lopez.
She even says too that, you know, he's somebody who paid kind of like what he said, $27 million a year. Another person who is known to make $27 million a year is Bob Iger himself. So a lot of people are really taking aim towards him, and maybe rightfully so. There's some evidence that, you know, he might not be completely guilty from this. Ron Perlman coming out and saying these things about executives, it's honestly, it's the realest talk you can say, because CEOs are there to make Wall Street happy.
Yeah,
They're there to push money. They're there to deal with the cash. That's basically their jobs.
They don't do shit, really.
Okay, we can't say they don't do shit. They do handle profits and stuff. So maybe, yeah, it's not really a lot of physical labor. It's not a lot of creative labor. It's more mental stuff. And, you know, a lot of these CEOs can be corrupt. A lot of these CEOs pocket money. You know, who knows what happens behind closed doors. I'm just, you know, going off face value that he is the CEO. So he's here to push money. Whereas the people down here that are making him that money, you know what I mean? He's just pushing the dollars. He's just figuring out where they go, who to keep happy, how to make investments, budgeting, whatever, blah, 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 sprinkling down to the rest of the people and yada, yada, yada. There's one person who holds the wallet while everybody is basically doing the rest of the work. Now, if they're making that much money off the work that the people down here are creating, you know, Bob Iger can come out and be like, I have a movie idea, let me boom, 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 whatever, but he's never made a movie in his life. So who knows if that's even going to do well. You need creative staff. You need the people down below. You need the actors. You need the writers. You need the, the production designers. You need the background actors, the crew. Everybody who brings something to the table for this performance that they put out to the screens that we see. I never see Bob Iger in one of those. I never see Zaslav. I never see his name besides, who gave us the money? Boom, boom, boom. Right there. There's Zaslav and the crew right there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, we never see them. We never hear from them. We see them on golfing trips, and we see them with black shades and doing shit behind closed doors that they're not supposed to, running whole billion-dollar companies into the ground while, you know, the people down below have to save them by creating more content. Like, it's fucking bullshit to think that you have to starve and, you know, kick people out their homes, you know, make sure that they have nowhere else to go but look somewhere else to survive, instead of just being like, hey, we'll take care of you just a little bit. We'll do a little bit more. My bad. I'm sorry. You know what? Money, business is business, but, you know, this is getting a little personal. Let's go ahead and, you know, amend this. Nah, they just rather keep pushing and pushing until everybody falls off that damn cliff.
I don't know, dude. Because, yeah, we don't, I would say we don't as much care about who the CEO is, who's running that money. We care more about who's making the magic, I feel.
Obviously.
Like Christopher Nolan, Zack Snyder, James Gunn, if you're into him, so on and so forth, right? Like, we don't really give a fuck about what he does, as long as, like, he's doing something we kind of vibe with, right? Like what did, I don't know if you have it up here, but when he said something about cutting back on Star Wars and Marvel, like, why would, those are like your biggest IPs, why would you ever, you know what I mean? That'd be like DC, we're gonna cut back on Batman.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make much sense. So now you have fans riled up. Like, well, we haven't had a Star Wars film in how many years now? We haven't had are having the Marvels come back, but again, we know where the MCU is depending on where you stand with that. They don't really do anything other than just say these things, and then I'm sure the inner workings pull all that aside. So Ron Perlman is right. $27 million just to steer a company, a boat that is probably controlled by like other people. So
well, he's probably the captain steering the boat while you have the people below decks who are fucking pumping fuel into that bitch, fucking navigating, figuring out what's in front now. Boats sink off this shit. You know what I mean? Sometimes the captain doesn't know what he's doing, and they hit some shit and down goes the boat. It's over.
Yeah.
This strike, we can acknowledge COVID tripped up a lot of companies. We can acknowledge the decline of movie theaters. Let's be honest, streaming has been picking up a lot more. Not a lot of people really want that movie theater movie going experience. Nobody wants to sit next to somebody. Nobody wants to do any of that. Why pay $70 for a family of 4 when you can pay $20 and make snacks and stuff at home for less than $20?
Yeah.
And watch it as a family in your big screen TV with your sound bar, your sound system, whatever the hell you want, whatever you have. So we can't deny that movie theaters haven't been on a downcline too. And this is what Bob Iger said, and we'll hear the comments that come after it. But he says regarding the strike, and he made these comments before the strike actually happened on the 13th. He says, it's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges we're facing, the recovery from COVID, which is ongoing. It's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption. I understand that any labor organization's desire to work on behalf of its members to get the most compensation and be compensated fairly based on the value that they deliver. We managed as an industry to negotiate a very good deal with the Directors Guild that reflects the value that the directors contribute to the great business we wanted to do. To the great business. We wanted to do the same thing with the writers, and we like to do the same thing with the actors. There's a level of expectations that they have, and that is just not realistic. And they are adding to the set of challenges that this business is already facing that is, quite frankly, very disruptive.
Homie's watching his pockets. That's what it sounds like.
He's what?
He's watching his own pockets.
Mm-hmm. He
doesn't... Disruptive, quote-unquote, has to be press talk to be like, they're fucking shit up. They're clearly fucking it up. You know what I mean? And he's trying to cover his own ass is what it sounds like. And if you don't want them fucking your shit up, you should have paid them fairly in the first place. Not just your actors, because they were not a part of this shit beforehand.
Directors.
No, directors. But I'm sure they will be joining quite soon. So there you go. But pay your directors, pay your writers, pay your actors accordingly. Don't use AI to determine their shit, because reshoots happen, so on and so forth happens that really change all that pay. You know what I mean? Oh my God, Iger, you don't understand, man. He doesn't understand.
So Fran comes out, and Variety went out there to talk to a few actors out there, and I kind of wanted to play the video.
Yeah.
Fran's one of the first ones who speaks about Iger's comments. It's CEO doing CEO shit. I don't know why he would say that. Like I said, we can acknowledge that COVID was a big problem. Those cutbacks we'll probably get to, but another reason why he's doing it is, he says, is because it's diluting the brand and whatever. So he has reasons, and I'm willing to hear him out if you're willing to hear him out as well. But let's hear what these actors have to say while they're on the picket line.
Okay.
Members about what they are fighting for and why it's so important. What did you think about Bob Iger's comments yesterday?
I found them terribly repugnant and out of touch, positively tone deaf. And, I don't think it served him well. If I were that company, I would lock him behind doors and never let him talk to anybody about this, because it's so obvious that he has no clue as to what is really happening on the ground with hardworking people.
Our wages, the minimums, which are haven't been adjusted for inflation since like 1983 or something like that. And then there's also this idea of, are we gig workers, or do we have continuing financial participation in the products that we help create? And residuals have been sort of an emblem of that. But as linear television and cable television has waned and as streaming has blossomed, we've been squeezed out.
We must be compensated fairly for the work that we're doing to be able to earn a living wage. This is a profession. This isn't just a side gig. And the cost of living increase that every other industry has built in is being ignored and denied by the current deal, just in rates. Of course, we're concerned about not having profit sharing in success. And there is the technology to be able to determine what the success of a show is.
Fran Drescher has spoken about actors being able to share in the success of these streaming services. Can you elaborate a bit on what it is that your union would like for that to look like?
Well, you know, what's kind of crazy is if you think about all the streaming platforms, right? And I know we have subscribers, all that stuff. If they raised it, if we were asking for, what, 2%, 1%. If they took that tiny little percentage, just for every actor that works on these streaming platforms, we literally would have enough money for all of our artists. We might even be able to insure insurance for all of them. Yeah. We could get rid of dues for all of them. What it looks like if we get a share of the profits changes the world for us. Because this, as an actor, it's not a hobby. It's not something I'm like, hey, I'm going to try to do an acting for a while. This is a vocation. This is a profession. I take pride in this. I love what I do. We all love what we do, and we want to do what we're doing.
This is about the survival of our business. We all love this business. We want it to exist long after we're gone. We want to be paid what's right. We want just to make a living in this business, and I think this is the moment we have to kind of come together and tell the studios we don't want to be doing this. We want to be writing, we want to be on set, we want to be playing Wordle on set with our friends, but until we figure this out, this is what it's going to be like for a little while.
Can you elaborate a bit on the threat of AI? There's some reports that the AMPTP wants to be able to scan the faces of background actors, pay them for one day, and then basically own their likeness. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly the proposal that was made to us by those companies on a few days ago. And their idea is, yes, we'll go in, we'll hire background performers, and we'll tell them, if you want this job, you have to sign this consent that lets us, for one day's pay, scan those, scan them, and then use them in any future project forever. That's not okay. There's no way anyone should accept that. It's not humane. It's not moral. People ought to have the right to consent when they're going to have their face, their voice, their likeness, their image used by these companies, and that's what we're fighting for.
Can you talk about some of the issues that are not getting as much coverage, such as sexual harassment, such as bullying, and proper behavior on set?
Yes, we've been fighting very, very hard for a lot of years to get sexual harassment protections, intimacy coordinators, all kinds of things into our contracts, and they've been fighting that on us, and we're still fighting for it because we heard from our members how they were being treated on set. We heard on the set of Babylon terrible things happening, and we want protections, and we want to continue having that dialogue evolve.
She said on the set of Babylon with Margot Robbie? We haven't even heard anything about that. Why is nobody talking about that? Why is nobody talking about that?
It's a lot about a hush hush, man.
That is a big hush hush.
Mm-hmm. Because we didn't hear anything about that.
Nobody said anything about any harassment that happened on the set of Babylon. I mean, I understand the strike is happening, but that's a big thing to say.
It's a lot of hush hush, man.
Because who was in that? Brad Pitt was in there.
Tobey Maguire.
Margaret Robbie, Tobey Maguire. There was a lot of people on there. It could have been a big actor.
That's probably why it's hush hush.
Let me find out it was Bully Maguire. I'm just kidding.
Hey, whoa, don't do that.
I don't want to. I'm not putting it out there like that. I ain't putting it out there. But like, it was just a joke. It was funny. Bully Maguire.
No. Don't you put it on him.
That's why I said
no,
bully.
No.
That's
now
why
you're
I said
coming
bully.
after Spider-Man. I'm gonna have to.
I said bully. But yeah. So we heard Fran's comments. She said that CEO was tone deaf. They should put him away, lock him up.
No,
he shouldn't really say anything. I think so too. I honestly, remember when Zaslav came out and tried to say something, and
everyone
then
booed him?
And then he got booed on a college campus that he was just trying to, help out with their ceremony and graduation. Pretty sure some people were just like, why are they so mad at this man? And then you hear Snyder cut. Like,
throw a tomato.
Yeah, you hear Snyder cut in the whole crowd. But very, very hard stuff. Even that last tail end bit, I don't know why they only just cut it off at that. I actually got really interested. I thought there was going to be a little bit of tea spilt there. But regarding at least the strike as a total, I mean, that being one of the things they're fighting for as well, that's, AI. Now, fair compensation. Now, something that really needs to be put into the light is sexual harassment shit that's happening on set that nobody's talking about. We've heard Hollywood's already been notorious for that too. People doing what they gotta do to get certain roles, right? Directors saying, hey, you want to work in this town again, you gotta do this, whatever. That Whedon thing that happened with Ray Fisher and Hamada and all that stuff, like, that wasn't like sexual harassment, but that was a form of harassment, so that's a big thing as well. Actors being afraid to come out, because then what happens? They get blackballed.
Yeah.
You can't find work anywhere. And I get it. Anywhere you go, if you piss off the boss, it's going to be very hard for you to work, but it shouldn't be a complete no from everybody if one person says no. Yeah. It should be a very fair, let me have a trial. Let me, let's hear my side of the story, not just be like, oh, I didn't go down on my knees for this dude. Now look at me. Now I don't get work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no. This is clearly crazy shit. Bob Iger needs to shut the fuck up. He just needs to stay away from the press. There needs to be someone to tell him, hey, shut up. Don't say shit. You sound dumb as fuck. You are quite literally fucking things up on your own level. Like, what happens assuming this goes on long enough, right?
Yeah.
What happens to him? Does he lose money? Does his stockholders be like, oh, you're out the fucking thing? Like, do they cut him out like they did Green Goblin and Spider-Man? Like what happens to him?
To Iger?
Yeah.
If he doesn't make people happy, he doesn't get a seat at the table. Now,
yeah, so they thought
you probably
fire him, right?
Yeah. So, and that's gonna be funny. He actually got a extension for 2 more years till 2026 as CEO now.
Oh, you
because he's been making Wall Street happy, with obviously the way he's been managing Disney now that Bob Chapek has made an exit. So to recap for you, and maybe if you don't remember, and for the audience out there, 2018, Bob Iger left. He wound up saying, hey, we're going to put out a Disney Plus platform. We're going to go ahead and put Marvel content. We're going to go ahead and put Star Wars content. It's going to be your guys' home to catch everything that is exclusively to Disney Plus. So sign up.
Yeah.
Record high, literally signups. Like, there were so many. Broke the servers on the first day. I remember I'm a Disney Plus day one user. I was on the phone with them motherfuckers trying to figure out why my subscription wasn't working, but they took the money out my fucking thing. And they just said, like, it was, I was on hold, I kid you not, for like 3 hours, dude, just to get this fucking streaming service working. And they said, oh, hold on, it's because of the backlog, whatever. They click, clack, bloop. It was working all of a sudden. So it was like a big deal, apparently. So he spearheaded this. Then he says, I'm retiring. Some people say conveniently so, because right at that point, Bob Chapek walks in. He has this monumental task to ride this roller coaster that Bob Iger built. And no matter what happens, he's going to basically have to take the hits to the face. So what happens next? COVID happens. COVID happens. He has to deal with streaming. He has to deal with theaters going down. How is he going to get people to watch these movies? How is he going to make the money back for, when people are scared to go out and watch a movie in a movie theater? And at the time, like we said, theaters were already coming down as well, since I think it was like halfway through 2017 when like Netflix really started shooting up to the stars. That's when people started being like, well, I could wait. And then COVID just accelerated that, because you just had to wait a few months and you could watch it on your streaming service. Or it was the same day theater to streaming release. So Bob Chapek had to navigate this wild ride.
Mm-hmm.
Wound up getting the shaft in the middle of the night. And Bob Iger resumes power back in 2022.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
2-year contract.
Yeah.
Here we are on his second year, getting an extension for 2 more years because he managed to cut costs. He removed a lot of programs from Disney Plus, and that's where we're going to go down to what's happening with him pulling back on Marvel and Star Wars content, because he had to cut costs. He had to, they were putting millions, movie budget money into these TV shows and not getting that return back because of streaming. So after Chapek took the shaft, here we are now, 2-year extension, pulling back content, making Wall Street happy at least. Apparently he's making the right moves, but here we are with a strike that he has to deal with as well, having to deal with what happened during Chapek's era that Bob Iger really set into motion.
Yeah.
He's cleaning up the mess, and apparently they're saying he's doing a good job. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I need the strike to go on long enough to watch this fucker fall. I gotta be real with you. Like, that's just where I'm at. These CEOs gotta pay their fucking people, even if it's out of their own fucking pocket. I don't care. Pay your people. That's it. That's the bottom line.
Pay your people. I mean,
this fucker probably lives in a mansion. He has the money to go golfing, fly private jets, do this, all this, and that. No. Bottom line is just pay your fucking people, man.
This is where I have to say we got to analyze a little bit, right? So his comments when he said that COVID, everything basically tripped him up. Here he is, tightening his wallet, cutting movies that we didn't even know were out, like Crater.
Yeah.
We didn't even know that movie was out.
Yeah.
I found out after they took it off. That made more buzz in the media than the actual lead up to that movie and that release.
Exactly.
So here we are with that.
COVID fucked up a lot of things. The CEOs, right? The CEOs not only having to manage this, but you still had a lot of film and actors and directors and all this and that working through COVID too.
Yeah, but they weren't getting paid fairly.
Where was
Warner Brothers
stuff?
did though? Warner Brothers did. We got to give them credit for that. Warner Brothers did. They wound up cutting checks with directors, actors. That's why they hemorrhaged money. That's why they were hemorrhaging so much money, because they made so much bad calls during COVID. Now, don't get me wrong. Was it for the people? Fuck yeah. Because they were like, you know what? People aren't going to theaters. How are we going to make money back? Oh, we got to put it to streaming. So they wound up putting it to streaming for the people. It was like, hey, people want to watch this. We pushed these movies back for 2 years because, what was it? King Kong vs. Godzilla was supposed to release in 2020. But they wound up pushing it to the very end of 2020 or early 2021, and we're just like, same day, boom, boom, stream and stream.
Theater and stream.
Zack Snyder's Justice League,
stream.
Boom, boom, boom. And it was just to recuperate money, just to bring back money. Now, a lot of people are saying that, hey, we might see the Ayer cut because, they're probably going to be scrambling for dollar bills now, but who knows?
That's a whole other theory.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. But, him pulling back on this content after he was the one who initially rolled out all this content. And him saying, and he even said in this quote right here, and I'm going to read it for you guys right now. He says, you pull back not just to focus, but also as part of our cost containment initiative, spending less on what we make and making less. He said a lot of decisions were made to prop up the company's flagship streaming service, Disney Plus, and beckon more customers, saying that Disney had some and Pixar Animation had misses in recent months, and Marvel being a particular example of the company's seal, saying that Marvel is a great example of that. It had not been in television business at any significant level, and not only did they increase their movie output, but they ended up making a number of TV series. Frankly, it diluted focus and attention. But it was like, you're the one who said that's what we needed to prop up Disney Plus.
Yeah.
At the time,
you needed originals to grab these motherfuckers in.
Exactly. And what did I tell you about Disney Plus before? Disney Plus is a babysitting app. None of these Disney Plus originals really called my name besides Andor, Mandalorian. Ahsoka's kind of doing it for me a little bit. on the Marvel side, not really so much. I think WandaVision was the only one, and then it literally dwindled down after that. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier was all right, and then
that's the thing.
It just got worse and worse.
Because they came out swinging with WandaVision. If you can remember the WandaVision era of the internet, that shit was everywhere.
But I think that was anticipation and hype, though. That had to be.
But it was still everywhere. But regardless, it gave them their views and streaming and whatever the fuck.
You gotta admit, WandaVision set that precedent, though. They set that third act fight CGI shit that they do in every single show. WandaVision was the starter of that.
Yeah, but up until then, everyone agreed unanimously that, okay, this is a decent show.
But
the mystery was enough to keep it tied in. The rewatch value is shit now because you know what's happening. But people back then were like, this is... Mephisto, yada yada, whatever the fuck.
But that was all hype and stuff. But then when we got disappointed with WandaVision, that's when everybody was like, is that actually happening? And then Falcon and Winter Soldier was just so predictable. People figured it out quick. And then eventually Loki rolled around and kind of surprised us with that one. And then Loki. it got back to basic shit.
It was just the shows and then the quality of movies because you had Black Widow, you had Eternals depending on where you stand with that movie, so on and so forth. Phase 4, like you say, is just this mess of like hit or miss, and depending on where you stand, you either have a lot of misses or a lot of hits. That's just divided fan base at that point. But a lot of it was still being watched. Like now, it's not being watched at all. No one's watching Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
No one watched Miss Marvel. Mm-hmm. Like. Now we know what we're getting into. But back then, it was like, oh, Marvel series. This was kind of ass, but we'll watch it anyway because we know we have to keep up. Like I can't remember most of Hawkeye, but Haley Steinfeld. So,
her name was attached to it.
That's what put us in this pickle now for him to be like, oh, I do want to put out shows, this and that. Like, no, it was working before. Now you realize... it's not working because half of it is ass. He's backtracking to on his own fucking shit because he knows that it's not working anymore.
It's not that. It's that they're not paying their people enough to give a shit about the project. There's no because this was a great idea. We were so hyped, and that's what I'm saying. WandaVision was so much hype, and that's why I fucking love that era because I remember being excited for this shit. I remember being excited for The Mandalorian, saying that, oh yeah, fucking finally Star Wars is coming back. No movies yet, but Star Wars is fucking finally coming back. We're going to see some shit. It's going to be great. Clone Wars. It was nice in the beginning because the hype was carrying us through the bullshit. But then when we got the same shit, dumbass shit, Boba Fett. What the fuck was that, man? What the fuck was Boba Fett? Rise of the Skywalker? What the fuck was that, man?
Shut up.
Oh, my bad. We're
talking
about Disney Plus.
My God.
What the fuck was that, man? That shit's crazy, bro. But like, why is that? Why do we hate it? It's just garbage shit. It's not diluting the project. You can enrich it with this stuff. If it wasn't garbage, if you paid your people and showed that you care about their livelihoods and not saying that they could lose their apartment, saying that you care about their livelihoods and pay them enough money to give a shit about your bullshit, and then we get good projects and you wouldn't feel this suction. You'd feel us helping you out. Same thing that's happening over there at DC. Why is everybody shaking, not fucking with that side over there, Warner Brothers and all that? Because they're not listening to fans. Yeah. They're doing whatever the fuck they want. They're checking off boxes. They think they know what we want, but that's not what we want.
Yeah.
If you notice what people want, fan theories and everything like that, people wanted this big spectacle. We were expecting hype shit, and we're getting bullshit. And here we are in the middle of a strike now because people can't pay these people. They're not getting the content that they want. We're not getting the content that we want. It's an endless fucking cycle. It's just... It's an all-around fucking grind, and I could feel that shit, to be honest.
Bob Iger, good luck on your 2 years. I really hope you get what's coming to you, for sure. You and Zaslav, honestly, all you big CEOs, like, there's no way that I expect you guys to be keeping your jobs anytime soon. Unless the tide changes and the strike ends where you guys pay them, hallelujah. But till then, rot is all for all I care. You don't get to not pay your people and then not give me Star Wars or Marvel good stuff.
Honestly, I didn't. I mean, Andor was the last piece of good nugget, but nobody watched it.
Now we're only getting a second season. You motherfuckers!
I
Why
swear to
couldn't
God.
you watch Andor? It was the one thing that was so good. It's getting nominated for an Emmy though.
Yeah, it is.
It better fucking win.
Very nice.
I know it won't.
Yeah.
I think The Last of Us might take it, but Andor should win.
Did you hear rumors that supposedly Disney's looking into probably selling Lucasfilm back to George Lucas?
I didn't hear that.
That Star Wars theory guy was kind of pushing that propaganda.
Star Wars theory, man. Fuck that.
I know, but it was kind of like an interesting thing in the way he put it. I kind of
It would
watched
be
it.
interesting to think about, but I don't think George Lucas would take it back.
You don't think so? 'Cause
No.
I've heard that George Lucas is kind of disappointed with the way that Disney took it.
I would imagine he would be, but I think that's a lot more stress about where they've taken it rather than it being in his hands. Because the concept arts for his sequels weren't any better than what we got. It had to do with like future robots being like having the Force and this and that.
His original trilogy was supposed to be Darth Maul and Talon taking over.
It happens.
That was his sequel trilogy.
That doesn't sound.
That sounds dope. I mean, we got that fitting in Rebels. Thanks Filoni. At least he salvaged that one. He fumbled the bag with Cat Bane, fucking asshole. But
yeah, he did fumble with Cat Bane.
But like, imagine if Darth Maul and Talon were like the protagonists. Like he surpassed his master, and we had this new villain. Yeah, Darth Maul would have been older, but like his anger is what's keeping him alive and fueling him. That shit would have been nice.
It would have been almost impossible to see. He got his ass whipped for generations.
What do you mean? Point. No, he was doing good. He was running a spice fucking empire, bro. And then he turned into a recluse because they had to end him already.
It actually makes me laugh so much. Because, yeah, he gets chopped in half, turns into a spider person, gets found by Maul, gets his ass whooped by Obi-Wan again, gets his ass whooped by Sidious, gets his ass whooped by Ahsoka.
Goddamn, bro, leave him alone.
No. Clearly, this is what you wanted. He runs the spice for a while. We see him in Han Solo. we see him in Han Solo. Don't know what happened with that after the fact. He becomes
your fucking mouth already.
He becomes a recluse. he goes into hiding, and then Ezra Bridger finds him, and he's like, "Oh, I can manipulate this kid."
That is my fucking guy, bro.
And then he shows up to Obi-Wan, wanting the smoke, and then he dies. There's no way he would have carried another trilogy, other than to die. Just for Talon to be like,
they played him so hard. They played him so hard. But he could have literally have been at the end of the Clone Wars. It could have been that turning point where he, became the Empire, had that Empire, and then pushed on that way. But because Disney said that they can't be there no more, like he needs to go already. Filoni was like, well, damn, we gotta at least give him a good goodbye. So that's why I blame the cover your ears, Maul. Yeah, well, I like Filoni because at least he had the decency to give him a good goodbye. I will say, as of a way you put it, you asshole. I fucking hate you because I don't like the way that you put it.
That's what happened.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I don't give a shit.
What's his name?
Who?
The dude that plays Kanan. What did he say about him in a podcast? What do you call it? He said that he's meant to lose or something like that. That's like his character in Mythos or whatever. Like he's just meant to be that pawn to be used and then lose constantly. That's just what he is. That's what George Lucas made him out to be. I'm sure when the Clone Wars was going on,
he would have been at a grander scale when he lost. That would have been so beautiful to have known that if he would have had that success, and imagine if he would have had that success and he would have been happy and thriving and this powerful ruler, and at the end of all that he finds out at the end of the day he was still meant to fucking lose, and he loses to Luke's girlfriend, Jade, whatever the fuck, his baby, fucking Force baby pushing him. I don't give a shit.
Imagine losing the 3 generations of Skywalker.
It would have been a fitting end.
That's actually funny.
It would have been beautiful. But no, we got Clone Palpatine. No, you're going to come at my dude? We got Clone Palpatine. We got Clone Palpatine and Rey. Oh, we are one.
homie gets his
She fucking
ass
dies.
beat
She
for
fucking
3
dies.
years.
Look, listen here. Ray dies like a little bitch. She fucking dies. Okay, and then here comes Adam Driver to save her, and then he dies. Stupid, dumb.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah,
I never once
you're
said.
offended.
Never
You're
once
offended.
said
That's
Ray
right.
Skywalker was my favorite character ever. So I don't.
Who?
Ray Skywalker.
Oh, I thought you said Rise of Skywalker.
No, I've never once said that she was my favorite character. I can agree that shit was stupid. It would have been fitting if she died and Ben Solo lived, but it is what it is, and I can accept her in her new movies. But Darth Maul,
if we get those,
but Darth Maul, yeah, he was doomed from the jump, my guy.
But it would have
You
been.
you don't get cut in half.
You
and
cannot
then
tell me
expect
that
a
it
whole
wouldn't.
nother movie.
But you cannot tell me that it wouldn't have made for a good movie. You can't tell me that.
Anyway, fuck Bob Iger for real.
Yeah.
And all those money hungry CEOs making $27 million a year or whatever the fuck they do.
Hopefully the strikes is done quick. Hopefully it's not true that whole. Hopefully they lose their apartment and shit happens. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. And hopefully they get what they need. Right.
Obviously, yeah.
But somebody who came out in a panic during the whole strike. I don't know if it's good or bad, but Tamora Morrison saying that he personally is going up to Lucasfilm headquarters to ensure that his character is not put on the shelf. He literally said in a quote, well, this is why I'm going to pop in and see what's going on and make sure they're not going to put me on a shelf. We can't have that, right? Because of the fact that Iger's comments basically said that they're going to be pulling back on Lucasfilm. So he's basically coming out like,
he's trying to save himself.
Hey, don't put Boba Fett on the shelf.
Yeah.
And, he even has came out before saying that he didn't like the direction they took him in the book of Boba Fett. That
how he should have been in Mando.
Exactly, because he lost 2 episodes in his show, and that was fucked up. That was really fucked up. But so he's been vocal about the fact that of the mishandling, but at the same time, after the Boba Fett show, how are you really going to recover from that? I don't think you can. I think the last time we should see him is probably in a team up and watch him go. And I don't even think Boba Fett should be around for too long. And even then, to be honest, you can honestly just be clones running around. Why do you care for Boba Fett? Like, you literally have this like revolving door of whatever the fuck you can actually play. You can play Captain Rex literally with a white beard if you wanted to. You can literally play an older clones. Boba Fett at this point, I think they put a bad taste in my mouth personally. I don't know. What do you?
I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing him again. I kind of, like I said, I really like the concept of him running the underground and stuff. If they can expand on that more without having Mando, that'd be sick. Because we don't really hear much about the Outer Rim in the sequel trilogy. Mm-hmm. So, like, what if, like, he's running, like, the crime or whatever? Like, that would be a nice, like, arc for him. Unless they kill him off, then, it is what it is. But so I'd like something like that.
So you'd be down for, like, a Book of Boba Fett season 2?
Yeah. He chased out the Hutts, and I kind of like that concept. Without Mando being there, he would have been fine. But they just didn't have faith that he could carry his own show, I guess. So they stuck in Mando.
I don't even know why they did that. That shouldn't have happened.
And then, no.
And there should have been way more fights. And we can all agree that biker gang was fucking weird, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. If they shelf them, I'm really not mad about it. I'm just more mad that we're going to lose Star Wars content.
Yeah. Fuck you, Iger, dude. How do you... Your biggest IPs... Star Wars and Marvel.
But this was under Chapek. And
Chapek can also suck
it too. And
then
on top of that, Lucasfilm is his own entity. It's Kathleen Kennedy. 100%. I know. I sound like a lot of those crazy people. But if you look at where all the arrows point, Kathleen Kennedy is the one who does all this thing. And it seems like there's been a pattern. If you notice what all the... at least with the shows... older, beaten up, like, characters. They are healing throughout the whole episodes. And then eventually they get to the top and boom, they're happy at the end. And that's their formula for the Star Wars show. Happened in Obi-Wan, happened in Book of Boba Fett. That was basically it, right? Those 2 of them. I think there's only a couple shows. Mandalorian didn't happen in there. Andor, not really. Hey, did you know that I rewatched Andor recently, and that one dude's in there, the dude from what's that show? Fuck, the one you watched, the cooking one.
The bear,
the cousin. He was in Andor.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was that rebel in the one that spoiler, but he was the traitor that got popped.
Oh.
When
oh yeah.
Remember when he was like,
Yeah.
we can split it or whatever, and we can go our separate ways.
Yeah.
Just leave them here, and Andor wound up shooting him.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I was rewatching it. I was like, oh, that's
That's
him. I
crazy.
was like, crazy. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's how you know that shit was big budget. They got the boy from the Bear, bro. But yeah, I could care less whether or not this is shelved. I mean, he has a whole catalog of what he can do, and that Boba Fett show really let me down 100%. Lucasfilm has been letting me down, but somebody who could be potentially lifting you up is James Gunn.
Shut
maybe. Oh shit. So before the strike happened, he wound up releasing a fuck ton of casting for his new Superman Legacy.
Yes.
And he was like, that shit was coming out like fucking crazy. That shit was
Yeah.
hilarious. So obviously we already know David Cornsweet is gonna be playing Clark Kent, Superman. Rachel, what's her last name? Brosnahan.
I don't know. Brosnan? I don't know.
Brosnan?
I don't know.
I don't know. Playing Lois Lane. Now we are hearing Isabella Merced is gonna be playing Hot Girl. She is the girl that played Dora in the Dora the Explorer movie.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
Crazy. Nathan Fillion is going to be playing Guy Gardner. He's his buddy. He was also a cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yep.
He came out in a couple other movies with them, but if you guys want to see him, he's in that one. Anthony Kerrigan, he's going to be playing Rex Mason Metamorpho. I don't know what that's about. You know who that character is?
Yeah. Metamorpho?
Yeah.
No.
You never heard of him?
I've heard of him, but I don't know him.
Oh, is he not a big character?
No, he's not. He's another B-lister.
That he's just bringing up into light?
Yeah.
And Eddie I'm hoping, as Mr. Terrific.
The dude that played Darwin.
Darwin in X-Men First Class.
Yes.
Yeah. Hilarious that they picked him. Did you see that whole thing on Twitter with that Merc dude? And he was
Mercury,
like, he was like, "Damn, how dare he?"
He was so mad when he
that
heard
was like
that
a personal
casting.
diss.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
That shit had me dying. I was like, "Oh, Mercury, he must be fuming, man."
Bro, that has to be a personal diss. That's
honestly,
crazy.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
If that's the case, James Gunn, why are you doing this, bro? Why are you beefing with random Twitter people?
Oh my god!
And
dude.
actually, that shit's crazy, bro. That shit's crazy. But I was hearing that this kind of sounds like they're creating like what DC's Fantastic Four or something like that.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. The Metamorpho, Plastic Man, Mr. Terrific, and I forget who the chick is. There's a
Hot Girl.
No, she's not part of the team.
No,
some other chick from the comics. But again,
Guy Gardner.
No, I'm assuming he's part of the Justice League. I don't know. How the fuck you choose a 50-year-old Green Lantern?
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, because and I was gonna bring this up too because Grace Randolph, she's a scooper as well. I'm not sure how reliable this is, so take it with a grain of salt. But she kind of let out a few details of what we might be seeing in
Grace Randolph.
Yeah, I know how you feel. She basically says Superman Legacy. Oh, it's kind of like some synopsis, a little plot details. What we might see in the trailer, not very big, heavy like spoilers. So kind of spoilery, but not too much.
Yeah.
Maybe take it with a grain of salt. It is a scoop, and James Gunn is known to beef with her, so she's been working extra hard to like unscramble his shit, and he's been like extra hard on her, trying to like discredit her, which is crazy. You know, we could have potentially had Dylan O'Brien as Batman, or not Dylan O'Brien. What's his name? The dude from Percy Jackson as Superman. But what if she just scooped that and he out of spite he
like,
said,
"Fuck." I gotta call up this guy.
David Cornsweet. God damn it. Henry Cavill knockoff? Fuck it. So she says basically Superman Legacy is going to have conflict in the Middle East. Superman wants to stop it one way and the other heroes disagree. So we're hearing that there's going to be more heroes in this movie. Obviously, Hawk Girl and Mr. Terrific and whatnot. Lex Luthor is also trying to negotiate peace in his own way. And the Authority was a misdirect. It's actually a JSA type team or the actual JSA.
They're going to do the Justice League of America? That's interesting.
I'm assuming the way she's putting it down, which is kind of weird because if they're doing that whole Middle East thing, it's going to get kind of political, kind of how like BVS kind of was.
Well, people don't like politics.
Yeah, that's one thing. So, I mean, unless he can really wrap it around and complex it around, unless he's going to take obviously the Marvel way out and have jokes about it and stuff like that to kind of lighten the mood. So who knows how he's going to make it. But sounds like there's going to be those issues. Superman's obviously going to want to, he said that he's like in his 30s or something. So starting off at the Daily Planet with Lois Lane. So it sounds like Superman's going to be kicking around, probably doing his own thing, not really in a group. They're probably going to try to recruit him to try to handle certain situations. He's going to be like, no, I don't want to align my morals with you because I'm a happy-go-lucky guy who wants to save kittens out of a tree. And, basically have their discourse like that. Lex Luthor's going to be in the mix. So if that's the case, then he's probably going to be just like a political threat, obviously, with the whole Middle Eastern things. Like, oh, you can't do that, Superman. You can't do that on their soil. You're American, blah, 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 blah. And then, obviously, the people that are able to go cross state lines and all that stuff are only the JSA, the heroes that are registered to America and whatever. So, it doesn't sound too crazy. It sounds kind of decent on paper if he can actually make it work. I don't know. What do you think by picking up the pieces? Or do you have a different interpretation?
Well, no, I don't know. I always assume scoopers can be wrong. So, assuming Grace Randolph is right, that sounds kind of weird. People don't like politics, quote unquote. That's kind of what the people have been decided for some odd fucking reason. The Justice League of America being part of this movie, again, people didn't like things being set up in a movie, so I don't know where to. This is just crazy. The double standards are crazy, but I don't know where this movie can go. I know having a lot of people in it can be overstuffing, depending on how you look at it or how it shapes out. But I have no idea where this movie can go. There's a lot of players in it that that I wasn't expecting. And if you're announcing castings to these characters, that would usually mean they have a decent sized role in the movie.
Yeah,
like they haven't even given up Lex Luthor, but you gave out side characters like Green Lantern, Metamorpho, Mr. Terrific, so on and so forth. So what are you doing with this movie, my guy?
And that's exactly what other people are trying to figure out too, scratching their heads. So he wound up posting a picture after all these announcements came out saying that Superman Legacy opens in 2 years from today. It seems far away to many of you, but it's close to me. We have a lot to do between now and then, but I haven't been more excited about a project in forever, and this cast slowly coming together. Holy cow, says James Gunn. And then we got a bunch of comments underneath it, and in the old James Gunn fashion, he's gonna answer all of them, or as many as he can. And this was the guy who said that he wasn't gonna be engaging a lot in Twitter, but hey, you go, dude. So this Twitter user says, "Are all the actors you're going to cast to play the characters going to play the entire DCU?" James Gunn says yes. Another Twitter user says, "Will Superman Legacy have Jimmy Olsen?" James Gunn says yes, it will. Another Twitter user says, "Super excited for this. Love the casting. However, I gotta ask, what compelled you to put these characters in a Superman story?" James Gunn says, "They fit in the story I'm telling. Story always comes first." You want to address those first batch of answers.
We Ben knew that the actors would play in the DCU. We knew that. That's a no-brainer. Everyone asking that is dumb as fuck and lives under a rock, because we know they're in it for the long haul. The part about the story coming first. In what movie does a Superman need Green Lantern or so on and so forth unless you're setting them up? That's the only thing that my mind goes to. I saw what he said about the Superman has his friends or whatever, so on and so forth.
Mm.
One of his friends is Batman. I would expect more Batman than Green Lantern or Mr. Terrific. What is he cooking? Like, that's just my thing. What the fuck, man? What is he cooking?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I said, from what we got from Grace Randolph, it doesn't seem too far-fetched, but it does seem like this movie is going to be a little bit bloated in a way. A lot of people have been kind of pointing that out. There's a lot of characters that are being casted. You know, Guy Gardner's obviously, you know, a big thing too. A lot of people are saying, you know, he's only hiring his buddy Nathan Fillion, whatever the fuck his name is. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry, no, Nathan Fillion, because they're buddies and shit like that. So there's that as well in the mix. So, but this Twitter user basically says, "I'm very excited that we're jumping right into it and establish DC world. I just hope that the focus remains on Lois and Clark. That the film remains a true Superman story that explores his character. Give us an amazing Superman story, James. The one we fans have always dreamed of. I trust you and believe you'll do it." And then he goes and says, James Gunn says, the primary story most definitely revolves around Superman and Lois. I don't know, but it sounds like it's going to be bloated. So, I mean, yeah, they'll probably be the main focus, but
assuming it's the Middle East thing, right? Would she just be reporting on it? Is that another thing you're going to do? Because we kind of had something similar not so long ago, you know, if you guys can recall. But I don't know, man. I don't know about all this. Keep going.
Another user says, so excited, James. Can we expect the bowl cut for Nathan? And James Gunn said, giving my old pal Nate a good bowl cut has been my primary reason for casting him. And a lot of people took a lot of disagreement with that tweet. And then this Twitter user says, what happened to Finn Wittrock as Gardner? Is the Lantern show separate, or did he get recast? The Green Lantern and James Gunn says, the Green Lantern show is not separate. Nate will play Guy in all parts of the DCU. So, if you guys didn't know, Finn Wittrock was cast as Guy Gardner within that DC Green Lantern show that was announced
way back when.
Probably right before James Gunn was announced to, obviously before, it was actually announced back in like 2020. It's been in development hell for like forever. That's why they didn't let Zack Snyder put his Green Lantern into into the Snyder cut. So this one has been in development, and Finn Wittrock was the last person I heard of that was going to be playing Guy Gardner. So it sounds like James Gunn says we have different plans for him, or not at all, and they're going to go with his buddy Nathan.
All I have are negative thoughts. This is not...
Well, give something with some substance.
Okay. Let me just... So, I don't really care about the recasting part. Shit happens. If you're in development hell, you're gonna get scrapped. I would imagine. That's just right out the gate. I'm still so confused on Guy Gardner being a Lantern this early. Nathan Fillion is 50 or something like that. So I know where you think I'm going with this. That's exactly where I'm landing. 50-year-old Green Lantern, probably one of the younger ones too. Where's Hal? Where's John? Where's Jessica? Where's Kyle? Where's all these other ones that you could have chosen, but you put your buddy to give him a bowl cut as Guy Gardner? Connect those dots how you want. That's the picture I'm painting. A lot of this just doesn't make much sense. Because again, how can you have it be centered around Lois and Clark if you have all these other players that don't revolve around the mythos of them, unless it's a big team up movie?
I love hearing all this stuff because it just helps me. Like, you know me, I like being a theory guy. I love like thinking of like how things are gonna go. It's a great little skill that I have for that. I like to say that is pretty much somewhat accurate most of the time. So I'm gonna throw out a theory right now and say that Nathan is gonna be the corpse by the end of this movie. He's gonna die. He's gonna die, and the ring is gonna go to somebody else. It's gonna go either to Jon Stewart or he's gonna go to Hal Jordan, and then build on to that for his Green Lantern show whenever that comes around, if it actually is gonna come around. But I don't think he's gonna stick around, because if I know James Gunn and he seems to be sticking to that formula, when he knows it's gonna be a limited role, he'll hire his buddies. If you notice with Michael Rourke in the Suicide Squad, when he was his buddy and he knew that he wasn't gonna play in the DCU for the long run, so what did he do? Got rid of him right then and there. Quick beginning of the movie gag. I'm not saying Guy Gardner is gonna be a quick beginning of the movie. I think he'll probably be throughout the movie, but I think he'll sacrifice himself by the end, or he'll die in a brutal way, and then the ring will kind of go somewhere else.
Well, I don't know, because he's saying he's going to play him in all aspects. I can't imagine him being in everything else if he dies here.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And what is he going to die to exactly? Because we still don't have a Lex Luthor. We know he's in it. Are we saying Lex Luthor is going to be the one to kill him? Is he going to get shot by a bullet? That would kind of be stupid, but,
Guy Gardner? Well, who knows? I mean, that's still up in the air. We don't know who the villains are in this movie just yet, and we don't know, how powerful Lex Luthor is going to be in this movie, if he's actually in this movie like Grace Randolph's scoop was. So I'm not really going off that. I'm just going off the casting and knowing what he does with his friends. I'm assuming he's going to bite the bullet by the end of this movie, and that ring is going to go to somebody else. I honestly believe he's just a slot holder. And he says in all aspects of the DCU, well, does Guy Gardner really live on to be around for a while? Or
in the comics, yeah, he's pretty relevant. But he doesn't show up. It's either he shows up and he's part of the JSA, like they're saying it's meant to be, or he's part of the Justice League with Hal and Jon Stewart. It's hard. It's really hard to say where this Green Lantern shit's going.
I'm thinking he's gonna bite the bullet by the end of the movie. I think he's gonna bite the bullet, and it's gonna give away to the spinoff, and the ring is gonna go to like Hal Jordan or somebody like that. That's just my theory. I mean, I know obviously in the comic books, if they have a longer run, some people are gonna be pissed off about it, but it's probably gonna be chalked up to for the movie, for Superman's story, it needed to happen or whatever.
He better be redhead.
I'm assuming he's I'm pretty sure they're gonna do it, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna die and make Superman realize, like, holy shit, like, we need to do something a different way. 100%.
Maybe.
Or maybe he's just gonna be a needless death, and we're just gonna see the ring go off to somebody else. I'm just assuming he's biting the bullet by the end of this movie. That's my theory. I'm putting it in there. Save that shit.
I don't know, man.
Because if it comes true, I want to be the first one to say I told you.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that all the tweets?
Basically, yeah. Obviously, everybody is spazzing out on Twitter. You got some people that are like, oh, give him a chance. And then you got the other people that are like, oh, he's hiring his buddies. Obviously, we have Merc over there thinking it's a personal attack on him. And then you have some other people that are saying, like I said, just give it a chance.
Yeah.
I personally... I'm giving it a chance. It is what it is. I'm going to see what they come up with. Hopefully it's something great. Obviously it's at a standstill, or should be at a standstill due to the strike. So we'll see what happens with that. But other than that, it's I know with the strike, they can't do any castings. They're not even supposed to be doing like social media buzz. And I know that the star of Blue Beetle, he went on Twitter right when the thing started and was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to promote it or whatever, but, hopefully
you guys can or whatever.
Yeah, and all that stuff. So, I don't know. It's a big thing. And I'm assuming we're not going to see Blue Beetle in this movie or anything like that. Maybe in a post-credit scene, probably.
I don't think so.
Maybe in a little clip or something like that. Who knows?
I don't know.
If they're trying to make it seem big, and that's what I'm assuming with all these castings and all these superheroes, I'm assuming they're trying to make it seem like the world is filled with heroes already.
Well, yeah. But, again... there's a time and place for these type of things. You don't put Blue Beetle in a Superman movie. You don't. You know what I mean? It has to make sense. Unless he's a Titan, it wouldn't make sense. Like if they put Superboy at the end, like if they tease Superboy, I can believe that. But you wouldn't put, you know what I mean? Because they just don't mix.
And so is this not a solo Superman movie?
He says it is, but all this other shit kind of doesn't look like that.
Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, so then that means Man of Steel is still like the most recent solo Superman movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, that, you know, that's the toxic side of Twitter that I like to call it. But it is what it is. I can't say I completely disagree, but at the same time, it is supposed to be his solo story. So, I mean, we'll wait to see when the movie comes out how much screen time these other characters actually get. Because, like I said, if I'm thinking that he's going to die, I'm assuming they're going to have some kind of justifiable, like, screen time to kind of make you feel for these people. Obviously, if they're going to be out and about in different installments. Yeah. Another tweet that I had seen, too, that he said something about that... What did he say? He had said that that all these characters are not in here just to set up the next story, that they're in there to serve Superman's story, that he would never just put random characters in there for spinoffs. But I'm like, that's literally what you're doing, though. And that's literally what you did with the MCU. So what are you talking about? And it stirs up a lot of stuff. That's what I'm saying. He should never be, I think, if anybody should be tied up and locked in in a room and not let speak, I think it's him, because he's obviously a hypocrite in the things he says. Even when he even said, I don't hire, you're not going to have an actor play the same character twice, but yet you're having your brother do it multiple times. And then, now you have your buddy over here playing Guy Gardner. Now he might play a different character down the road too. So, why say those comments if you're just going to do it anyways?
Basically. I think he said on another tweet somewhere that Harcourt probably isn't in this movie.
Oh, yeah. That people were making a big deal about that, but yeah, we'll see.
We'll
see.
I call Cap. I think he's going to put her in there. Otherwise, he's going to sleep on the couch.
Damn. You think he pussy whipped?
No.
my boy, a director, my man.
And?
He puts her in movies. Without him, she would not have a name. He makes her sleep on the couch. 100%.
Nah, man.
Yeah. Hopefully he has the balls to be like, nah, I can't put you in this movie. It's going to make me look really bad. But if he doubles down and does it, then we already know. It wouldn't really surprise me. It's James Gunn. He's been doing that shit for a while.
But yeah. Superman Legacy. Not sure what to think about it yet. Other than that, this could be a mess. And I might be praying on its downfall, but that's unrelated.
I won't. I will stay as optimistic.
You're better than me.
I will stay as I will stay as optimistic as I
have enough optimism for both of us then, because I'm not doing this.
All right, this is like the Flash in reverse at this point. Like, honestly, that's crazy. Pause. Moving on though. Also, another major casting on top of the casting that we gave you a few episodes ago. So go check that out. But for Tron Ares, we got word that Cameron. Damn, his last name's crazy. Monaghan is going to be playing a role in this movie.
Yeah.
He was in Shameless. And he played in. He's a main star in Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. Joker in Gotham. Yeah. He played quite a bit of roles. I think he's a good actor. Fine addition to the cast. Playing next to Jared Leto as well, but it's another thing that's going to be put on hold. And this was one of the casting that actually got out before the strike as well. That they were just like, hey, we got to hook him in right now before anything happens.
It was this one and the dude that played Jeffrey Dahmer? What's his name?
Evan Peters.
Mm-hmm. They both made it in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. This cast is looking pretty stacked though.
Yeah, W's, bro. W's all around. That has to be a good sign.
For sure. But people are still not going to go see it because of Jared Leto. I'm pretty sure. But everyone else, if you're a fan of him,
I feel like people love to hate Jared Leto. I feel like a lot of people like to hate on that fool. I feel like there's no real evidence behind any of that to say that they have a legitimate reason to not like Jared Leto. They just, he was in the Joker, but he was in Psycho. I love him in that
pretty
shit.
good Psycho. Yeah. He gets his face bashed in, but yeah.
Yeah, he's done pretty good
He's a
roles.
decent actor.
Mr. Nobody, come on. If you guys haven't seen that movie's
Exactly.
actually
We're
really
gonna
good.
keep bringing it up every time we bring up Jared Leto because he just does so.
That's
good
one
there.
of like his better movies. It's crazy that he didn't get enough play. That shit's insane. The Joker. I mean, a lot of people bring up his performance in Suicide Squad, but listen, his performance was butchered. How are you gonna be able to like judge anybody? It's kind of like now that we're hearing that the Schumer cut is being released and shit like that. Like Kevin Smith gave a lot of praise to the actors and stuff when Val Kilmer was being dragged for what happened, and George Clooney obviously till this day is being dragged to what happened with that his Batman. But I mean, that's studio interference. We can't do anything about it. You know what I mean? A lot of people say that he played a fine Batman and a fine Bruce Wayne. It's just the direction that the story was taken.
Yeah, it didn't help.
So Jared Leto's a fine actor.
For sure.
It's just you can't base everything off those, and I think he does great as like in Panic Room. Damn, he was good in Panic Room too. He's a great actor. I love Jared Leto.
Yeah, no, he's really good.
I just think people just love to hate that fool.
Probably, yeah.
But I think people hate watch him a lot too. I think if anything, people are like, "Oh, we're not gonna see his movie, but we're gonna hate watch it." Morbius is another product of, and I hate that they keep doing this to him. And he needs to really put in his contracts like, what I'm signing up for is X, Y, and Z. If you guys make significant changes, I need to be pulled out, because he's been having some bad luck with that shit.
Yeah.
Where like movies have just been going like through major reshoots and major like different variations of what it isn't. And I think if to really see his performance, you got to see a lot of the older movies where like his performance isn't altered in any way. Like he's actually giving a good performance.
Yeah.
But people love to hate that
for sure.
That's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, excited for this casting. I can't wait. This is better news. Like I said, more casting that was pumped out before all this shutdown happened. And last but not least, and only because I brought him up, was Ebon Mas Bacharach. Is that his name? Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't know. He's stars in The Bear. We just talked about him. He was also in Andor. Has a lot more, like a good list of other shows and movies he's done. Now, seemingly being eyed to play the Thing for Marvel's Fantastic Four. Now, a lot of people were like, "Oh, James Gunn is over here already cast all four of his DC's like Fantastic Four technically, but Marvel's still dealing with their side of things."
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they're not getting. They were trying to go for big A-list actors to play every single character, but they can't nab everybody and pay them the money that they want. So this is probably another issue that budgeting and everything is coming down to, is like, how much can we actually pay these actors? Now we're hearing that he's also thrown in the mix. I think he's a fine actor. I think he would make a good Thing.
Yeah, I can see that happening. He'd be a good Ben Grimm. Can't be mad at that. He'd be a solid choice.
Solid?
Yeah.
I seen some people fan casting it now, like pictures and shit. I'm like, that would be a fine. I couldn't find one to show you right now, but it was all like on Twitter and shit, but and Reddit. It's really good to see that he's getting the recognition. Like I didn't even know who he was in Andor until I seen him in The Bear.
Yeah.
And actually seeing him, and then looking now that he's actually done a lot more roles that honestly you probably would be surprised to see him again, and you're gonna be like, damn, he was in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a fine job.
Yeah,
100%.
He could be a good Ben Grimm. I can see it.
Yeah, and Antonio Banderas as being Galactus too. That shit's a crazy one.
That's funny. That's actually funny. Puss in Boots as Galactus.
When I heard that one, I was just like, damn, bro. What is he gonna have a Mexican accent in space? That shit's crazy. That should not be happening.
That would be funny.
But all these castings, all these rumors coming in hot right before the strike. So I don't think we're going to be getting a lot more castings.
Not anytime soon.
Until the strike dwindles over. Hopefully none of this really affects it heavy. We will still have content for you guys. We still have those topics. We will still be providing something. So though we will have a little drought in content when it comes to news, I think something that's going to be fueling us a lot is this strike. A lot of actors are coming out.
Yeah.
100%. A lot of actors are
Matt Damon was one of them.
Matt Damon, he talked about depression on the set because of things he had to deal with. It's a hard case, and it was a lot to stuff into one episode. So hopefully we can continue a little bit more on a different episode. But we'll keep you guys updated.
Yeah.
With that being said, if there's anything that we missed, a movie you guys want us to review, a topic that you guys want us to talk about, you guys want us to, any ideas for content, if you guys want to hear our thoughts on certain things, if you guys want to support us in a big way, Josh, let them know where they can let us know.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FIlmBros Podcast. You can hit us up there for any news or movies you want us to cover. Again, we'd be more than willing to do it. Listen to us on the go, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube Music. Listen to us there at FIlmBros Podcast. Buzzsprout to support us. Links are in the bios of the socials I just gave you. You get special perks and shout outs for our episodes. And when it's all said and done, subscribe to our YouTube at FIlmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later.